Welcome, friends, it is I, LostScarf, and it's time for the Short Smite Beginner Guide to Hell. That's right. She's not two-faced, she's just double the crazy. This is the first stance god in the game. After her came Tyr and then Ullr, and she doesn't have an ultimate. She just hits really hard and heals really well, and that's just what makes her so great. The ability to have 6 different abilities is just a crazy-ass thing that she do, and you're going to learn how to do it, hopefully kinda well, after watching this guide. As always, this is for beginners, advanced and expert players. Probably nothing here for you, but beginners, there's going to be a lot of information here because she just has so much to talk about. And it's just going to be maybe a little confusing at first. Just watch it maybe 1 or 2 more times because there's just a lot to talk about with her. And she's just a really, really good god. So, let's get going. Hell's abilities. Now, since she's got 2 stances, we got to think about dark and then we'll talk about light in the same spot. So, passive first. Stance attunement. This is a bar that fills up over time as Hell's in a certain stance. In dark, it goes up to 20% damage buff. In light, it goes up to 20% healing buff. Now, her first ability is called DK Restoration. The dark side is the DK. She does a skill shot that bursts in damage wherever it lands. The light side is a skill shot that only hits one target, and if it hits a target, it heals her and deals damage. Second ability is Hinder Cleanse. Dark side is Hinder. This is an AoE slow and protection debuff. Light side Cleanse is an AoE cleanse of CC and gives immunity for a short duration. Third ability, Repulse Inspire. The dark side is Repulse, and this is a big AoE attack around Hell that deals a lot of damage. The light side is a big AoE heal and speed buff that applies to her and allies. And finally is her ultimate, which is Switch Stances. What this does is it just switches your stances, and when you level it, increases damage on dark side and increases MP5 in light side. Class and roles. Now, Hell is a mage, which means she's a magical glass cannon. They're capable of doing a lot of damage, but not taking too much damage. But since she's a healer, she's able to sustain herself pretty well. Now, the thing about her is, she can do a lot of damage in Dark Stance, she can heal herself very well in Light Stance and her allies, so she's a big threat in lane and in team fights. So where do you put her as a beginner for roles? And that would be solo lane. This is a very safe lane, especially with the blue buff, so she's able to just clear fast and bully very well. And she just does a lot there. She can clear very well against mages, against guardians, against warriors. Anyone that gets put in that lane, she can fight pretty well and bully them as long as they're not too tanky. As she gets built up as the match goes on, she can, of course, shred some protections and then do a bunch of damage as well. So Hell is a good threat there, and the blue buff allows her to do a lot. Then, of course, with the light stance on the MP5, she's able to stay there even longer, so she can sustain herself pretty well and not have to worry too much. Of course, if she bullies very well and puts herself super deep, she is having a chance of getting ganked, but because of her cleanse and heal, she might be able to get out of it pretty well. Still, you don't want to get overzealous, that will get you killed. Now in team fights, your dark stance, you're doing a bunch of damage to the enemy team and taking away their protections. In your light stance, you're cleansing your allies, healing yourself with your one, and you're healing your teammates all over the place. Just doing one then the other over and over and over again, and that just makes you really annoying to deal with for the enemy team. Now for the mid lane, that is the mage lane. So Hell is capable of killing or being killed very quickly and easily because of just how much damage happens in that lane. Ganks happen there as well, but because of her cleanse and her heal, she's able to deal with that kind of well, just like in solo lane. The big weakness, of course, is though, she doesn't have a blue buff to rely on, so she can't spam as much as she would like, but she has pretty good control over the mid camps because she can clear them very quickly. Then, of course, team fights are the same thing. She built up from lane, now she's just a big threat in team fights, and people need to worry about her. Tips and combos. First up is gotta be with the passive. Pay attention to the passive bar for what you need. You want to do more damage? Stay in the dark stance longer. You need to do more healing? Stay in your light stance longer. If you switch back and forth fast enough to what you need to do, you can stay in one stance whenever you need it for whatever you need to do. Now this next one is just thinking about it. When there's nothing to fight, switch to light stance for your MP5 after you hit level 5, so you're just getting some mana up, and then switch back to dark stance to fill up your bar when the wave arrives so you can just take it out. You just need to practice the timing on that. That's all you need to do. Another one is just bunch up the enemy minions for easier clearing. It's just a lot easier. You can bunch them up with basics and then hit them with your 1 and 3 or just your 3 to finish them off. It's just easier that way. Another is pay attention to what CC the enemy team has and cleanse accordingly. If you know what the enemy has, like stuns or slows or whatever the hell thing they can do to your team, pay attention to what you think you need to look out for and then do the cleanse when needed. And last one is keep team fully healed at all times. Those are really all the tips. This is just thinking about how you use Hell. That's really what you need to think about. Now for the more combat level tips, that would be in the combos, such as the first combo, D3 plus D1. That's a simple combo right there. You do your big AoE and then you do your other splash to finish off whatever's left. It's really good for clearing. Second combo, D2, D1, D3, and L1. The way this one works is you strip the defenses with your D2, then you hit them with a big splash of D1, hit them with D3 for more damage, and then switch to L1 to hurt them some more and give yourself some healing. That's all your damaging abilities in one big combo, and it works out pretty nicely. Now the big combo done at max level max CD, and that is D2, D1, D3, L1, L2, L3, D2, and onwards. What happens here is, at max level and max CD combo, you can cast all your abilities in a constant flow every 7 seconds. That's all you need to know. And that's the combo that you do it in. Purchases for Hel. Now there's a couple different ways you can build Hel. You could build her with a lot of power, pen, and CD for a strong early game, or you can build stacks, MP5, and CD for a late game healer potential that still does a lot of damage as well. Or you can do a mix of both, really depending on what you want to do. The thing about Hel is, the stronger she hits, the stronger she heals. It's just that you could also just get items that help out with her healing more if you'd like, or items that help out with her damage more if you'd like as well. One thing you can think about is, do you need beads? And it really depends on what you're fighting. If you feel like you can cleanse preemptively well enough, then you're fine without beads, but Aegis is still a viable thing to have because of just the big alt hits. You need to still be worried about that. But you can also get beads if you feel like you just will not be able to stop all that CC that could be coming your way. And it is not a bad idea to get team-based actives because you're going to be a huge asset to the team already, and you can just add to it right there. In conclusion, Hel is an incredibly powerful god that is capable of causing a lot of trouble all game. In her dark stance, she can bully a lane really well. She can also heal herself up so she can stick around for a long time. In team fights, she can do a bunch of damage to a team, she can heal her team, so she can just keep the upper hand for her team all game. As long as you land your shots and stay mindful of mana usage, you will be a problem for opponents the entire game. Hel is just so much trouble. She is double the trouble. 2 times the action right there. She just causes so much, does so well, as long as you can keep your head on just constantly casting mana usage just over and over and over again. Don't lose your head in that fight, and you will do really well with Hel. That is just how it is. You spam, and you spam, and you freaking spam! And as always, it is important to share these guides so that more people understand Hel so they can play better as her and against her. It's just a good idea right there for more people to understand it. That's really what we want here with all these guides. Better understanding the guides so you can play them better, play against them better, just might be comfortable with just even trying them. That's the idea with the guides. So there you go, that right there is the guide for Hel. Up next is going to be Hoonbots, and that guy's going to be a whole lot of fun. A whole barrel of monkeys right there getting thrown at things, making people dance. He is the party animal for dang sure. And so that'll be next time. So there you go. That is the guide. I had fun watching. That's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.